I got falsely accused, suspended from my job, and my wife served me divorce papers, saying I can't be with a predator. Later, I discovered she set me up, so I made sure it cost her everything. Sup Reddit. Imagine if the person who was supposed to have your back during the worst accusation of your life was actually the one who destroyed you. Here's how I found out my wife didn't just abandon me. She orchestrated everything. I, 34 male, work as an academic advisor at a mid-tier state university. I'd been there 6 years. Decent pay, good benefits, boring as hell, but stable. My wife, Marin, 33 female, worked in corporate HR at a tech consulting firm downtown. We'd been married 5 years, together for 8. Looking back, I can pinpoint when things shifted. December, 3 months before everything exploded. She started coming home later. End of quarter crunch, she'd say. Phone habits changed. Face down everywhere. Password changed to something she never told me. When I asked about it casually, she said her company required stronger security protocols. Then, March 15th happened. My supervisor knocked. She looked like someone just kicked her dog. Hey, can you come to HR? They need to talk to you. The tone was wrong. Too careful. Too quiet. Got escorted to a conference room. 3 people I'd never met. HR director, Title IX coordinator, and someone from the university's Office of Institutional Equity. They introduced themselves. Then they hit me with it. We received an anonymous report through our student conduct hotline. The report suggests a violation of university policy regarding appropriate staff-student interactions. Per institutional protocol, we're placing you on administrative leave pending review. I sat there like they'd just told me I had 6 months to live. What? What violation? What are you talking about? The coordinator jumped in. We can't provide specifics at this stage. You'll receive a notice of investigation within 7 to 10 business days that includes a redacted version of the complaint. For now, we need you to surrender your access card and keys and refrain from coming to campus. This is insane, I said. My voice sounded far away. I haven't done anything. The HR director slid a piece of paper across the table. A notice of leave. My name. The date. A paragraph of legal boilerplate. A line for my signature acknowledging receipt. You're entitled to consult with an attorney or union representative, but we do need you to leave campus today. I signed it because what else was I going to do? I went back to my office and exported my entire inbox and calendar to a flash drive. 6 years of records. I'd cut my access 10 minutes later. My supervisor was waiting in the hallway when I came out. She looked like she'd been crying. I don't know what they told you, she said, but I know you. You wouldn't do this. I didn't trust myself to respond. Just nodded and kept walking. Handed my keys and ID card to the coordinator at the security desk. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in my car in the parking lot with a box of my life on the passenger seat. No job, no answers, and the growing realization that someone had just destroyed me. I called Marin. She didn't pick up. Texted her. Need to talk. Something happened at work. Call me when you can. She replied 2 hours later. In a meeting. What's wrong? I got suspended. False accusation. Need to talk. 3 dots. Then, OMG, are you okay? I'll be home by 7. She got home at 8:30, walked in with takeout from the Thai place we used to go to, sat down across from me at the kitchen table and asked what happened. I told her everything. The meeting, the accusation, the suspension. I told her it was a lie, that I'd never touched a student, never even thought about it, that I didn't understand who would do this or why. She listened, nodded in the right places, said all the right things. This is insane. They can't just believe some random person. We'll fight this. Then she got quiet for a second. I just need to ask, and I'm not accusing you, but is there anything that could be misinterpreted? Any emails that might look different to someone who doesn't know you? No, nothing like that. Okay. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm just trying to understand what we're dealing with. We need to be prepared for everything. I know. This is going to get messy. My office is already asking questions. I need to know you're telling me everything. I am. She nodded. Okay. Then we'll figure this out. But something in her voice felt off, like she was already calculating. Within a week, everyone knew. My phone blew up with carefully worded, "Hope you're okay" messages. A few friends went ghost. People stopped replying once my name got attached to student complaint. My mom called on day 3. I could hear her crying before she said hello. What happened? Her voice was careful, scared. I told her the truth. Someone made this up. I didn't do anything. She went quiet. Then said she and Dad had talked. They thought it was best if I didn't come to Sunday dinners for a while. Just until this blows over. My brother called next. 2 years younger, always the golden child. Attorney. Perfect suburban life. Bro, what the heck? It's not true. Then why are they investigating? Because someone lied. He exhaled. Mom's freaking out. With the kids and everything. We think it's better if you keep your distance for now. I got it. I got that my own family was cutting me loose because I was embarrassing them. I hung up on him. My sister sent a short text. Said she needed space to process. Didn't ask for my side. Just shut the door. Only my dad kept calling. You doing okay? He'd ask. When I said I needed an attorney, he wired me $5,000 the next day. You didn't do this, he said. Not a question. A statement. I know. You're not smooth enough to pull off an affair, and you're too much of a Boy Scout to risk your career. Maren played her role perfectly at first, the devastated wife. But there were cracks. She stopped sleeping in our bed, took the guest room, locked the door. She'd disappear for hours and come back saying she went for a drive. Her phone was a vault. Change the password again. One night I asked her point blank, "Do you believe me?" She didn't even look up from her phone. The screen lit up her face in that cold blue glow. Does it matter? Yeah, it matters. You're my wife. Am I? She finally made eye contact. Because the man I married wouldn't be in this situation. My stomach dropped. You actually think I did something? I think you got yourself suspended. I think you put us in this position. And I think I'm the one dealing with the fallout while you sit here feeling sorry for yourself. Maren, I lost my job. My family won't talk to me. Oh my gosh, enough. She stood up, phone clutched in her hand like a weapon. Do you hear yourself? It's always about you. Your job. Your reputation. Your feelings. What about me? Do you know what people at my office say when I walk by? Do you know how humiliating it is to have a husband under investigation? The words hit like a slap. She'd never talked to me like that before. I don't care. Her voice was ice. Whether you did it or not doesn't change the fact that you destroyed everything. My career is taking hits because of you. People judge. And I'm tired of defending you when I don't even know if you deserve it. I stared at her. This woman I'd been with for 8 years. Married for 5. Planned a future with. She looked at me like I was garbage she couldn't wait to take out. 10 days after my suspension, the notice of investigation finally arrived. Certified mail. I ripped it open standing in my dad's driveway. The complaint had been filed March 14th at 11:47 p.m. through the online Title IX portal. Anonymous. 2 pages. Single-spaced. Detailed. The complaint said a junior named Alina had been uncomfortable with my persistent attention since January. Said I'd emailed her frequently with overly personal questions. Said I'd scheduled advising appointments during unconventional hours. Said I'd suggested meeting off campus to discuss her academic future. Said another student had witnessed me being overly familiar with Alina in my office. It was specific. It was convincing. And it was complete garbage. I pulled up the flash drive with my exported work emails. Searched for Alina's name. Found exactly 11 emails between us spanning 2 semesters. January 14th. Alina asking about credit transfer from community college. My response. 2 paragraphs explaining the process and linking the transfer equivalency database. No frequent emails, no personal questions. Nothing even remotely inappropriate. Next, I pulled my exported Outlook calendar. Found Alina's appointments, January 18th at 2 p.m. and February 8th at 10 a.m., both during my posted advising hours. Both logged in the student system where anyone could see them. Both during the day with other people in the hallway and my door half open because that's how I always did appointments. Credit card statements showed nothing social, nothing off campus. The complaint was fiction, but it was detailed fiction. Whoever wrote it knew enough about my job to make it sound plausible. They knew university terminology. They knew how Title IX investigations work. They knew exactly what to say to trigger an immediate suspension. Maren knew all of this. She'd heard me talk about my job for 6 years. Advising hours, appointment protocols, the kinds of complaints that got people suspended. She worked in HR. She understood investigations, documentation, risk management. She'd told me once about a case at her company where they fired a manager for harassment based on an anonymous tip. Told me how they couldn't take chances even when the evidence was thin. She'd literally given me the playbook. And I hadn't realized she was teaching herself how to use it against me. 3 months into my suspension, after barely speaking to me, I came home to find her sitting at the kitchen table with some guy in an expensive suit, briefcase open, papers spread out like they owned the place, the sound of a pen clicking. He was tapping it against his legal pad, probably timing how long it would take me to process what I was seeing. She didn't even flinch when I walked in, didn't look surprised or guilty or anything. She'd been waiting for me. "This is my attorney," she said. The guy stood up, hand extended. I didn't take it. Marin slid a stack of papers across the table toward me. Didn't say anything else. Just sat there with her arms crossed, jaw set. I looked down. Petition for dissolution of marriage printed across the top in bold letters. You're divorcing me. Yes. Her attorney cleared his throat. We've scheduled a mediation meeting at a neutral location next week to discuss practical next steps. This is a standard no-fault dissolution. Given the ongoing investigation and the need for legal and residential clarity, my client believes this is the appropriate course of action. You're divorcing me 3 months after I got suspended. I looked at Marin, ignoring him completely. She leaned back in her chair. I can't do this anymore. We've been living like strangers. This situation, it's not sustainable. What situation? You mean me being falsely accused? I mean us. This whole thing made me realize we've been broken for a while. I need to protect myself. Protect yourself from what? I didn't do anything. It doesn't matter what you did or didn't do. What matters is what everyone thinks happened. My job is at risk. My reputation. I can't go down with you just because we're married. I felt like I'd been punched. So you're bailing. I'm making a practical decision. This isn't about emotions. It's about survival. She said it so calmly, like she was explaining a business strategy. I talked to a therapist. She helped me see that I need to prioritize my own well-being. A therapist? Yes. She helped me see that staying with you isn't healthy, that I deserve better than being dragged down by your mistakes. My mistakes? Someone filed a false complaint against me. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and her expression shifted, colder. You still don't get it. It doesn't matter if it's true. You're toxic now, professionally, socially, and I'm not going to let you take me with you. Her attorney shifted uncomfortably. The mediation meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday at 2 p.m. You'll receive the location details via email. We recommend you have representation present. I saw where this was going. She'd already set the narrative. Controlling, unhealthy, unsafe. One call to the cops saying she felt threatened, and I'd be the one in cuffs. Didn't matter what actually happened. Didn't matter that I'd never touched her. All that mattered was the story she'd tell, and she knew I knew it. Fine, I said. My hands were shaking. I shoved them in my pocket so she wouldn't see. Her attorney slid a single sheet across the table. This just confirms you received the petition, not the terms, just service. I grabbed a pen from the counter and signed. Proof they got me to touch the trap. That's all it was. My name on a line saying they'd successfully delivered the papers that were about to gut my life. Marin took the paper, glanced at it, and handed it to her attorney without a word. She didn't say goodbye, didn't apologize, didn't even look at me again. Just walked to the guest room and shut the door. Her attorney packed up his briefcase, mumbled something about being in touch, and saw himself out. I stood in that kitchen for maybe 5 minutes. Then I went upstairs, threw clothes into a duffel bag, grabbed my laptop and charger, and walked out. Locked the door behind me out of habit even though it didn't matter anymore. Drove to my dad's place. 40-minute drive. He answered the door in his bathrobe, took one look at my face and said, "She did it, didn't she?" I nodded. "You can stay here as long as you need." I slept on his couch that night. Didn't cry, didn't break down, just lay there staring at the ceiling, replaying every word she'd said. I started therapy after I couldn't sleep for 3 weeks. Panic attacks became routine. Within days, my mom called. Said the divorce was probably for the best. That maybe Marin deserved better than this situation. That I needed to take responsibility for my part in all of this. Marin had been talking to her for weeks. I could hear it in the phrasing. The way Mom said, "your part," like she'd been coached. Like Marin had already laid the groundwork, painted the picture, turned my own mother into a character witness for the other side. I stopped answering her calls. My brother texted. Said Marin had reached out to him. Told him I'd been difficult, and she'd finally found the courage to leave. Said he was disappointed in me and needed time to process. She'd gotten to him too, probably months ago. I blocked his number. My sister sent an email, long, detailed, about how she'd always sensed something was off about our marriage, how Marin had confided in her about things I'd supposedly said or done, how she was standing with Marin. The whole family turned, all at once because Marin had spent months setting it up. The only person who didn't abandon me was my dad. He called every morning, asked how I was doing, didn't push when I said I didn't want to talk about it. Just let me know he was there. "You'll get through this," he'd say. I didn't believe him, but I appreciated him saying it anyway. I rented a crappy one-bedroom apartment near the highway. It was depressing as hell. It was also all I could afford. Spent my days applying to jobs I'd never get because a search of my name now returned academic advisor suspended pending investigation. Even places that claimed they didn't do background checks would ghost me after the phone interview. I burned through savings, sat in that awful apartment, and asked myself one question on repeat. Who benefits from destroying me? The answer was obvious. Marin. Think about it. If I'm seen as an abuser, or even just professionally inappropriate, she gets the moral high ground in the divorce. Judges eat that up, especially in family court. She walks away looking like the victim who escaped a bad situation. I look like the bad guy who got what he deserved. And she gets favorable terms. Maybe even more than 50-50 if she plays it right. Spousal support, the townhouse, everything. But how the heck do I prove it? I called my attorney, told him I wanted to subpoena Marin's phone records as part of the divorce discovery. He said that was aggressive, and the judge might not allow it without cause. What if I think she filed the complaint? I asked. Can you prove it? Not yet. Then you're asking for a fishing expedition. Judges hate that. Look, she filed for divorce 3 months after I got suspended. She's calling me controlling and emotionally abusive. She's setting up a narrative. Her credibility is on the table. I need to know what she's hiding. He was quiet for a second. Then, I'll file the motion, but don't get your hopes up. It took 2 hearings and a lot of back and forth before the judge finally granted limited scope. Marin's attorney fought it hard, claimed it was invasive and irrelevant, but my attorney argued that her abuse allegations made her credibility and pattern of behavior directly relevant to the divorce. The judge approved call and text logs only, no message content, for a limited date range. I'm allowing this narrowly, the judge said. Call logs and metadata from March 1st through March 31st. Nothing more unless you show cause for expansion. 2 weeks later, I finally had the records. I spread them out on my card table and started digging. I became the kind of guy who saves PDFs like they're ammo. March 12th, 3 days before I got called into HR. Marin sent 14 texts to a number I didn't recognize. I Googled it. Nothing. Ran it through a reverse lookup service. Nothing. My attorney subpoenaed the subscriber information. It took another 3 weeks to get anything useful. Finally got it. Keaton. Same company as Marin. Same department. I looked him up on LinkedIn. Senior HR business partner. Specialization, employee relations and compliance. The guy who handled investigations and wrote up termination reports. The guy who'd know exactly how to draft a Title IX complaint. I kept digging. The pattern was clear. March 13th, 6 texts. March 14th, 11 texts ending at 11:52 p.m., 5 minutes after the complaint was filed at 11:47 p.m. March 15th, 9 texts starting at 10:30 a.m., 15 minutes before I got called into HR at 10:45 a.m. The timeline was damning, but I needed more. My attorney filed a motion for expanded discovery. We had enough to show a suspicious pattern. The judge allowed us to request Marin's work login metadata, just portal access logs, nothing internal, for the same date range. Her employer fought back with privacy objections. 2 rounds of motions. Finally, the judge narrowed it to public-facing university portal access only and forced them to comply. Found that she'd accessed the university's public website on March 10th, specifically the Title IX reporting portal. Spent 11 minutes on the page. Enough time to read the instructions and figure out how to file anonymously. She didn't file from her work computer, she's not that dumb, but she researched it, probably took screenshots, maybe sent them to Keaton. I went back to the apartment I used to share with Marin, technically still my house until the divorce finalized. She wasn't home. I'd texted her first to make sure. Went into the guest room where she'd been sleeping, looked around for anything she might have left behind. Found an old iPad in the nightstand drawer, the one we used to use for recipes and looking up random stuff. Hadn't thought about it in months. It was a shared household device. We'd both set it up years ago and both had accounts on it. Stayed logged in forever because nobody re-auths on a couch device. I turned it on. Still worked. Still had both our profiles. I called my attorney first. If I find something on a shared device that we both own and I'm logged into with my own credentials, is that admissible? He hesitated. This could go sideways fast. If you access her private account or break any passwords, this becomes a criminal problem. But if it's truly shared and you're using your own login, document everything. Take photos. Preserve the evidence properly. And for the love of everything, don't touch anything you're not supposed to. I logged in under my own account and checked the shared notes app we used to use for grocery lists. Opened notes. Scrolled through grocery lists and to-do reminders. Then I noticed the iCloud photo backup was also shared. Opened photos. Sorted by date. March 14th. Found a screenshot. Timestamp. 11:35 p.m. It was a screenshot of the Title IX portal instructions. The page that explained how to file an anonymous complaint, what information to include, how to make it detailed enough to trigger an investigation. Then another screenshot. Timestamp. 11:38 p.m. This one showed a notes draft. Title. Draft. Review. The text matched parts of the complaint I'd received. Not word for word, but close. Same structure, same phrasing, same fabricated details about late office hours, and overly familiar emails. At the bottom of the note, check with D about wording on the off-campus meeting part. Make sure it sounds specific but not too specific. D. Keaton. My hands were shaking. I took photos with my phone, photographed the iPad screen, sent them to myself, sent them to my attorney. Emailed them to 3 different email addresses just to be sure. My attorney had me meet him at his office that afternoon with the iPad. He took photos himself, printed them, had me sign an affidavit documenting exactly how I'd accessed the device, and got it notarized that same day. We had her. My attorney filed for expanded discovery in May, requested Marin's work emails and workplace messaging for March 1st through March 31st, specifically communications with Keaton. Her attorney lost his mind, filed an objection claiming it was overly broad, harassing, and a violation of privacy. We went before the judge. Family court. Older guy who looked like he'd seen every dirty divorce trick in the book and wasn't impressed by any of them. Marin's attorney made his case. Said I was on a fishing expedition. Said I was weaponizing the legal process to harass his client. Said there was no evidence linking Marin to any misconduct and I was just throwing allegations around because I was bitter about the divorce. My attorney stood up, pulled out the phone records, showed the judge the timeline. March 12th, 14 texts to Keaton. March 13th, 6 texts. March 14th, 11 texts, with the last one sent 5 minutes after the complaint was filed. March 15th, 9 texts, including one sent 15 minutes before I was called into HR. Then he showed the iPad screenshots.
My parents told me, "You're adopted. You get nothing when we die." Then Grandma's lawyer called. The call came while I was eating cereal before my shift at the auto parts store. "Austin Caldwell, this is Margaret Stevens, estate attorney. Your grandmother Eleanor left you something." I almost laughed. "There's been a mistake. My parents said I wasn't in her will. Mr. Caldwell, we need to meet immediately." 2 hours later, I'm staring at documents. $2.1 million, a house, investment accounts, all mine. "But I'm adopted," I stammered. Margaret handed me a letter in Grandma's handwriting. "Austin, you are not adopted. You're my biological grandson. Your father's first wife, Jennifer, was your real mother. She died when you were 2. Susan made David pretend you were adopted because she wanted you gone." My hand shook. 21 years of being treated like garbage. While my siblings got cars and vacations, I worked 2 jobs just to afford ramen. Every family dinner where they'd discuss college funds for Logan and Ashley. But when I asked about help with community college, Dad would say, "You need to learn independence." The letter continued. "David and Susan think they're inheriting everything. They've been spending money they don't have. The new truck, kitchen remodel, Logan's boat. They borrowed against my estate. They get nothing. But there was more." Margaret pulled out another folder. "Your grandmother hired a private investigator 3 years ago. She documented everything. Photos of me walking to work in the rain because my bike broke. Messages between Susan and her friends. Can't wait for the old bat to die so we can finally live properly." The investigator had recorded conversations too. Austin thinks he's family, but he's just David's mistake from his first marriage. "Once Eleanor's gone, we'll have enough money to cut him off completely." "Your grandmother was furious," Margaret said. "She changed her will 6 months ago. Your parents get nothing. Your siblings get $1,000 each. Everything else goes to you." The best part, the investigator had proof they'd already spent $200,000 they didn't have. New credit cards, loans against their expected inheritance, deposits on a vacation home in Florida. I drove to their house with Margaret. It was Friday night, their weekly family dinner that I was never invited to. Through the window, I could see them celebrating with champagne and expensive takeout. Susan opened the door, saw us both, and her face lit up with greed. "Finally, Margaret, right? How much did Mother leave us? We've been waiting so patiently." Logan and Ashley crowded behind her, practically bouncing with excitement. David appeared with a bottle of champagne, ready to toast their good fortune. I smiled. "Actually, she left me everything, and this letter explaining how you lied about me being adopted." Susan's face went white. "That's impossible. You're not even real family." "Oh, but I am." I pulled out the birth certificate Grandma had kept safe. My mother was Jennifer Caldwell. You know, Dad's first wife. The one you made him pretend never existed. David's champagne bottle slipped from his hands, shattering on their expensive marble floor. The floor they'd renovated with money they thought they'd inherit. "This has to be a mistake," Ashley whispered. Margaret stepped forward. "There's no mistake. Austin inherits $2.1 million, the house, and all investment accounts. You 3 children each receive $1,000. David and Susan receive nothing." "Nothing?" Susan's voice cracked. "But we borrowed. We spent. Oh, about that $200,000 you borrowed expecting your inheritance." I held up the legal papers. "The bank wants it back tomorrow with interest." Logan started crying. "But my boat payments. The vacation house deposit." "Not my problem," I said. "Maybe you should have treated your brother better." David finally found his voice. "Austin, please. We're family." "No," I said, looking him dead in the eye. "Jennifer was family. Grandma Eleanor was family. You're just the people who made my life hell for 21 years. Margaret cleared her throat. "There's one more thing your grandmother wanted you to know." She handed me a sealed envelope marked "Open only after confronting them." Inside was a single photo. My real mother, Jennifer, clearly pregnant, with a massive bruise on her face. The back read, "2 weeks before she died." David's handwriting. I looked up at my father, the photo shaking in my hand. "Grandma didn't think Mom died in an accident. She thought you killed her." David's face went white as snow. "That's not, I never." Susan grabbed his arm. "Don't say anything. Don't you dare say anything." But Ashley was staring at the photo, then at her father, and she started backing toward the door. "Oh my God. That's why Grandma hated you. That's why she cut you out." Logan stopped crying and looked at his father with new eyes. And suddenly David rushed toward me, not to hug me, but with his hands reaching for my throat. Margaret moved faster than I expected for a woman in her 60s. She stepped between us and David crashed into her instead, stumbling backward. She pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police. One more step toward my client and you'll face assault charges on top of everything else." David froze, his hands still raised, breathing hard. Susan yanked him back by his shirt. "You idiot. You complete idiot. This is exactly what she wanted. What Austin wants. To make you look guilty. I wasn't the one who put a bruise on Jennifer's face 2 weeks before she died," I said quietly. Ashley was still backing toward the door, her eyes wide. "Dad?" She was shaking. "Tell me you didn't. Tell me Grandma was wrong." David's jaw clenched. "Your grandmother was a bitter old woman who never forgave me for marrying Susan." "That photo means nothing." Jennifer fell. "It was an accident. Both things were accidents." Margaret's voice cut through. "The coroner's report from 23 years ago lists cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head, consistent with a fall downstairs. But there were also older bruises." "Bruises," the coroner noted, but your father explained away as clumsiness during pregnancy. I felt sick. "You hit her while she was pregnant with me?" David's face twisted. "You don't understand. Jennifer was difficult. She had these moods. Postpartum depression, they called it later. But back then, she wasn't postpartum," I interrupted. "I was 2 when she died. That's not postpartum depression." Susan finally spoke, her voice ice cold. "This is ancient history. Even if David did push Jennifer, which he didn't, it's been over 2 decades. No one can prove anything. The case is closed." Margaret smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. "Actually, Mrs. Caldwell, Eleanor hired a forensic specialist to review the original investigation 6 months ago. There were significant inconsistencies that were never pursued. The angle of Jennifer's fall, the fact that neighbors reported hearing screaming an hour before David called 911, a grocery bag found at the top of the stairs, suggesting she'd just come home when it happened." Logan had stopped crying entirely. His face was pale. "You killed Austin's mom?" David whirled on him. "I didn't kill anyone. She fell. I tried to help her, but it was too late." "Then why didn't you call 911 right away?" Ashley's voice was barely a whisper. "Why was there an hour gap?" "Because I was in shock," David snapped. "Because I was trying to revive her. Because I had a 2-year-old son crying in the next room and I was terrified. Or because you needed time to get your story straight," I said. "Because you needed to make it look like an accident instead of what it really was." "Prove it," Susan hissed. "You can't prove any of this. It's all speculation and circumstantial evidence. Eleanor was a vindictive witch who wanted to hurt us from beyond the grave." Margaret tucked her phone away. "The police are on their way. I've also sent them copies of the forensic review and the original case file. They'll decide if there's enough evidence to reopen the investigation." David's legs seemed to give out. He sank onto the arm of their leather couch, the one they'd bought last month with borrowed money. "This can't be happening." Ashley grabbed her purse from the entry table. "I'm leaving. I can't be here right now." "Where are you going?" Susan demanded. "Away from you people," Ashley shot back. "Away from whatever this is." Logan stood up too, wiping his face. "I'm coming with you. You will not abandon this family," Susan said, her voice shaking with rage. "We are in crisis and you two are just going to run away?" "This family abandoned Austin for 21 years," Ashley said. We watched you treat him like garbage and we said nothing. We laughed when you made jokes about him at dinner. We took the cars and the money and the vacations while he walked to work in the rain. So yeah, Mom, I'm running away. Because I don't want to be anything like you. She left. Logan followed without another word. The house felt bigger with just the four of us. Me and Margaret standing near the door. David collapsed on the couch arm. Susan rigid with fury in the middle of her expensive living room. The silence stretched until we heard sirens in the distance. "You've destroyed this family," Susan said, looking at me with pure hatred. "Eleanor poisoned you against us, and now you're going to take everything. Even if David goes to prison for something he didn't do, you'll still have your money and your self-righteousness. I hope it keeps you warm at night." I thought about all the nights I'd gone to bed hungry because I couldn't afford groceries and rent in the same week. All the times I'd asked for help and been told to figure it out myself. All the family photos on their walls that didn't include me. "I'll manage," I said. 2 police cars pulled up outside. Margaret opened the door for them. "Officers, thank you for coming. We have a situation that requires your attention." The next few hours were a blur. David and Susan were taken to the station for questioning. Margaret drove me back to my apartment, the tiny studio above a laundromat where I'd lived for 3 years. It cost $650 a month and the heat barely worked, but it was mine. "You should stay somewhere else tonight," Margaret said as we pulled up. "Once the press gets hold of this story, they'll find you here." The press? A wealthy woman's will that cuts out her son and daughter-in-law, leaves everything to the grandson they pretended was adopted, and potentially implicates the son in a 23-year-old murder? Austin, this is going to be everywhere by tomorrow morning. I looked up at my apartment window, the curtain I'd hung to cover the broken blind, the air conditioning unit I'd installed myself because the landlord refused, the life I'd built from nothing because no one else would help me. I don't have anywhere else to go. Margaret pulled out a business card and wrote something on the back. "This is my home address. I have a guest room. Pack a bag and follow me. We have a lot to discuss about managing your grandmother's estate, and you need to be somewhere the reporters can't find you." "Why are you helping me?" I asked. "You're just my lawyer." She looked at me for a long moment. "Eleanor was my best friend for 40 years. I watched her cry over you more times than I can count." She showed me the photos the investigator took. You walking 5 miles to work in a snowstorm because your bike chain broke, eating dollar store crackers for dinner, wearing the same 3 shirts to work because you couldn't afford more. She wanted to help you sooner, but David and Susan had already convinced you that you weren't really family. She was afraid you'd refuse her money out of pride or because you thought you didn't deserve it. So she waited. She planned. And she made sure that when she died, you'd finally get everything they stole from you. Your inheritance, your truth, your mother's memory. I'm helping you because Eleanor asked me to, and because after reading that investigator's reports, I think you're a good man who got dealt the worst possible hand. Now pack your bag. We have work to do. I packed everything I owned in 20 minutes. It fit in 2 duffel bags and a backpack. Margaret raised her eyebrows but didn't comment. Her house was in a neighborhood I'd only driven through on my way to other places. Big trees, sidewalks, houses with 2-car garages and landscaped yards. She pulled into a driveway with solar panels on the roof and a garden full of roses. "Guest room is upstairs, second door on the right," she said. "Bathroom is across the hall. Make yourself at home. I'm going to make some calls." The guest room was bigger than my entire apartment. It had a real bed with a headboard and matching nightstands, curtains that weren't sheets thumbtacked to the wall, a closet with wooden hangers. I sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out my phone. 47 missed calls, 63 text messages, most from numbers I didn't recognize, but some from people I worked with. My manager at the auto parts store. "Hey man, are you okay? Saw your name on the news. Call me." I opened the news app. The top story in the local section was Wealthy Widows Will Sparks Family Drama and Possible Murder Investigation. They'd used an old photo of Grandma from some charity event. She was smiling. I barely remembered her like that. Most of my memories were from the last few years, when she was sick and David and Susan only visited when they wanted something. The article didn't have many details yet, just that Eleanor Caldwell had died 3 months ago. Her will was being executed this week, and there were questions about her son's first wife's death in 2002. They mentioned me as the primary beneficiary but didn't use my name. That wouldn't last long. Ashley called at 9 p.m. I answered because I didn't know what else to do. "Austin?" Her voice was quiet. "Are you okay?" "I don't know, are you?" She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Logan and I are at a hotel. We used his credit card, but it's almost maxed out because of the boat payments. We might have enough for 3 days, maybe 4 if we don't eat much. What are you going to do after that?" "I don't know." Ashley was crying now. "I keep thinking about all the times we watched them treat you like garbage and we just went along with it. You asked me for $50 once, do you remember? You needed it for a work uniform, and Mom told me not to give it to you. She said you needed to learn to budget better. I listened to her. I let my brother go without because Mom told me to. What kind of person does that make me?" "A person who was raised by Susan and David," I said. "You didn't know any better. That's not an excuse." No, I agreed. It's not, but it's an explanation. She was quiet for a minute. The news is saying Dad might have killed your mom, Jennifer. They're saying Grandma thought he murdered her and that's why she cut him out of the will. What do you think? I think I saw the way he looked at you tonight. Ashley's voice hardened. I think if Margaret hadn't been there, he would have hurt you, maybe killed you too. And I think I've spent my whole life making excuses for him because it was easier than admitting what he really is. What is he really? A man who hurts people when they're in his way. We talked for another hour. Ashley told me things I hadn't known. How David had thrown a plate at the wall during an argument last year and Susan made her lie to the neighbors about the noise. How he'd shoved Logan during a fight about the boat purchase, hard enough that Logan hit the door frame. How Susan always defended him, always made excuses, always blamed whoever he'd hurt for provoking him. I should have told you, Ashley said. I should have warned you that they were planning to cut you off completely after Grandma died. Susan talked about it all the time. She had this whole plan to change the locks on the house and tell you not to come around anymore. Like you were a stray dog they were finally getting rid of. My throat felt tight. I'm sorry you had to grow up with them. I'm sorry you did too, she said. But at least Logan and I had each other. You had no one. After we hung up, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the photo of my mother, the bruise on her face, the way my father had lunged at me with his hands outstretched, going straight for my throat like it was instinct, like he'd done it before. Margaret knocked on my door at 6 a.m. I was already awake, sitting by the window watching the sun come up over her perfectly maintained lawn. Coffee? She asked. We sat at her kitchen table with our mugs and she spread out paperwork between us. We need to move quickly, she said. The bank that gave your parents the loans is going to file a claim against the estate. They'll argue that David and Susan borrowed that money in good faith based on an expected inheritance. Can they win? No, Margaret said firmly. Eleanor's will was ironclad. I made sure of it. But they can drag this out for months, maybe a year. In the meantime, we need to secure your grandmother's house. Your parents still have keys and they're desperate. I wouldn't put it past them to try and remove valuable items before the estate is fully settled. What do I need to do? Get a locksmith out there today and change every lock. I'll file for a restraining order on your behalf to keep David and Susan off the property. We'll also need to do a full inventory of everything in the house to make sure nothing's missing already. Already? Margaret's expression darkened. Eleanor's caretaker called me yesterday evening. Susan was at the house 2 days before Eleanor died. The caretaker left them alone for 20 minutes while she went to pick up prescriptions. When she came back, Susan was coming out of Eleanor's office, and she looked flustered. The caretaker didn't think much of it at the time, but now she's wondering what Susan was doing in there. You think she was looking for the will, or trying to change it? Margaret tapped her pen on the table. Eleanor kept the original will in a safe deposit box at the bank, and I had a copy in my office. There's no way Susan could have actually changed anything, but she might have taken other documents. Financial records, personal papers. We won't know until we do a thorough inventory. I spent the day at Grandma's house. It was a big old colonial with a wraparound porch and a garden that had gone wild without her there to tend it. I'd been there maybe 5 times in my life. Always awkward visits where Susan would find reasons to cut them short. The locksmith came first. $200 to change 5 locks. I paid him cash from the $2,000 advance Margaret had given me against the estate. Then I started going through rooms with a notebook, writing down everything I saw. Furniture, artwork, photo albums. In Grandma's office I found filing cabinets full of documents going back decades. One folder was labeled, Jennifer. I sat on the floor and opened it with shaking hands. Inside were letters my mother had written to Grandma, hospital records from my birth, photos of her holding me as a baby, a journal entry dated April 2002, 2 months before she died. David grabbed my arm so hard today that I cried. He said I was being dramatic. He said I bruised easily because of the pregnancy vitamins. But Austin is 2 years old. I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm not taking those vitamins anymore. And I don't bruise this easily. I never used to bruise this easily. Mom asked if everything was okay and I lied. I told her everything was fine, but it's not fine. I'm scared of my own husband and I don't know how to leave him. Where would I go? How would I support Austin? David controls all the money. He says I can't work because I need to stay home with the baby. But Austin is in daycare 3 days a week now. I think David just doesn't want me to have my own money, doesn't want me to have a way out. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the journal. There were more entries, pages and pages of my mother documenting abuse, financial control, verbal attacks, being shoved, being grabbed, being told she was worthless, and lucky that David put up with her. The last entry was dated the 10th of June 2002, 2 days before she died. I told David I want a divorce. I told him I'm taking Austin and leaving. He didn't yell. He just stared at me with his cold expression and said, "You're not taking my son anywhere." Then he smiled. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen, that smile, like he'd already decided something and was just waiting for the right moment to do it. I'm so scared. I'm writing this at the library because I don't feel safe writing it at home. I'm going to ask Mom if Austin and I can stay with her for a while, just until I figure things out, just until. The entry ended there, unfinished. 2 days later, she was dead at the bottom of the stairs. I called Margaret. She listened while I read her the journal entries, my voice breaking on almost every sentence. Austin, she said gently when I finished, I need you to put that journal in a plastic bag. Don't touch the pages anymore. We're giving that to the police. They're really going to reopen the case? After what you just read to me? Yes. This is evidence of domestic violence and possible premeditation. The fact that Jennifer told David she was leaving 2 days before she died, and that she documented being afraid of him, changes everything. Detective Amy Rosenthal came to the house that evening. She was young, maybe early 30s, with her hair pulled back in a tight bun and eyes that didn't miss anything. She photographed every page of the journal. She bagged the entire folder. She asked me questions about my father's behavior growing up, and I told her about the plate throwing, the shoving, the way he'd lunged at me last night. Mr. Caldwell, she said when we were done, I want to be honest with you. This case is 23 years old. Physical evidence is long gone. The original investigation was closed as an accidental death. Even with this journal and the forensic review your grandmother commissioned, getting charges filed is going to be difficult. But it's possible? It's possible. Her expression softened. I've worked cold cases before. Sometimes all it takes is one piece of new evidence to make people look at everything differently. This journal is that evidence. Your mother was documenting abuse and she told your father she was leaving. Then she died 2 days later in a suspicious fall. That's a pattern we see in domestic violence homicides. What happens now? Now I take this to my sergeant. We review the original case file. We re-interview everyone who was involved back then. Neighbors, the first responders, the coroner. And we see if there's enough to present to the district attorney. And David? He's already being questioned about the discrepancies in his original statement. Detective Rosenthal glanced at her notes. In 2002, he told investigators he was in the garage when he heard a crash. He said he ran inside and found Jennifer at the bottom of the stairs. But phone records show he made a call from the house phone at the same time he claims to have been in the garage. He told police he called 911 immediately, but there's an hour gap between when the coroner estimates Jennifer died and when David actually called for help. He told us last night that he was trying to revive her. For an hour? With a toddler in the house? Without calling for any kind of medical assistance? Detective Rosenthal shook her head. The story doesn't hold up. It never really did. But in 2002, he was a grieving widower with a small child and no prior record of violence. Investigators took him at his word. Now we know better. After she left, I walked through the house room by room. In the master bedroom, I found more photos of my mother. She looked happy in the early ones, smiling, young. Then the photos changed. She looked tired, thinner. In a photo from what must have been a few months before she died, she wasn't smiling at all. She was holding me on her hip and staring at the camera with hollow eyes. I took that photo off the wall and sat on the bed with it. Mom, I said out loud, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I don't remember you. I'm sorry I grew up thinking I was adopted, that I wasn't really family. I'm sorry you were so scared and no one helped you. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Austin Caldwell? Yeah. This is Trevor Walsh. I'm a reporter with Channel 7 News. I was hoping you'd answer a few questions about your grandmother's will and the investigation into your mother's death. I hung up. He called back immediately. I blocked the number. 2 minutes later, a different number called. I let it go to voicemail. Then another, and another. Margaret called at 10 p.m. Stop answering calls from numbers you don't know. The press is going to hound you until something bigger comes along. Don't talk to any of them. Don't confirm anything. If they approach you in person, say, no comment, and walk away. This is insane. This is what happens when money and possible murder intersect. She sighed. Get some rest. Tomorrow we're meeting with the bank to discuss your parents' loans and we need you clear-headed. I couldn't rest. I lay in the guest bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about my mother's journal entries, thinking about David's cold smile, thinking about 23 years of lies. Somewhere across town, in whatever holding cell they'd put him in, my father was probably lying awake too, probably trying to figure out what to say, what story would save him, what lies he could tell. But the truth was already out there now, written in my mother's own hand, and no amount of lying was going to change it. The bank meeting was worse than I expected. David and Susan's loan officer was a thin man named Patrick Huang, who kept wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief. Mr. and Mrs. Caldwell took out loans totaling $187,000 over the past 18 months, he explained, sliding papers across the conference table. They used Mrs. Eleanor Caldwell's estate as collateral. We were assured by both David and Susan that David was the sole beneficiary and that the estate was worth over $3 million. Did you verify this? Margaret asked. We requested documentation. Susan provided what appeared to be a copy of Eleanor's will dated 2019. It listed David as the primary beneficiary. Margaret's jaw tightened. That will was superseded by a new will in January of this year. The will Susan showed you was no longer valid. How were we supposed to know that? You weren't, Margaret said coldly. But that's your problem, not ours. You gave a substantial loan based on collateral the borrowers didn't actually have. That's a failure of due diligence on your part. Patrick's face flushed red. Mrs. Caldwell committed fraud. She knowingly used an outdated will to secure loans. We'll be pressing charges. Get in line, Margaret said. She's already facing potential charges for elder exploitation. Eleanor was ill for the last year of her life and Susan had regular access to her. We're investigating whether Susan attempted to manipulate Eleanor into changing the will back or if she tried to access Eleanor's accounts. Patrick looked like he might throw up. The bank wants its money back. The bank can file a claim against David and Susan Caldwell personally, Margaret said. But you're not getting a penny from Eleanor's estate or from Austin. Your loan officers failed to verify the collateral. That's not Austin's responsibility. We went back and forth for another hour. Patrick kept insisting the bank had rights to the estate. Margaret kept shutting him down with legal precedent and cold, hard facts. Finally, Patrick slumped in his chair and admitted the bank would have to pursue David and Susan directly. They don't have any money, he said miserably. They spent it all. The truck, the renovations, the vacation home deposit. It's all gone. Again, Margaret said. Not Austin's problem. We left Patrick looking like his entire career was circling the drain. In the parking lot, Margaret turned to me. That was the easy one. The easy one? Wait until the credit card companies realize they're not getting paid. Wait until the boat dealer repossesses Logan's boat. Wait until the Florida real estate developer sues for the forfeited deposit. This is just the beginning, Austin. Your parents' financial house of cards is collapsing and it's going to be ugly. She was right. Over the next week, it got ugly fast. Logan's boat was repossessed 3 days later. He called me crying, begging me to pay off the loan. Just $30,000. Please, Austin, it's all I have. I told him I couldn't help him. The boat was bought with money they expected to steal from me. Let it go. Ashley had better luck. She got a job waiting tables and found a cheap apartment across town. She called me once to say she'd changed her name.
If you're an Aries, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Cancer, Gemini, don't lose a good man. Because of these 5 mistakes.
If another man is able to get close to your woman,
because the monkeys don't know that money can buy a lot of bananas.
I don't care what people say about me, because I know who I am.
If you offer work and business to people,
and that's when you
they will
realize
choose to work.
the quiet
feelings for
Because
you, but is
most
also
people
jealous
don't
of
know
you.
that a business
To find
can
out
make
they're
more
in
money
But now I
than
fear
a
losing my
salary.
time. If I live
One
according
of
to
the
others'
reasons
opinions,
the
You don't
poor
need
are
anyone's
poor
validation to
is
feel
because
whole.
the poor are not
So don't
trained to
waste your
recognize the
And I give
entrepreneurial
respect to
opportunity.
those who deserve it.
They spend a
Leave that
lot
part
of
in
time
red,
in school,
activate the blessing,
and what
and
they
send it to
learn
the
in
first person
school
who appears.
is to
And she
work
no longer
for a
cares what
salary
happens.
instead of
A
working for
woman does not
themselves.
make feel.
Profit
I wasn't
is
looking
better
for a
than
fight.
wages
I
because
was looking
wages
for
can
undiscipline,
support you.
not to defend
But
yourself
profits
or
can
fix
make you a
things,
fortune.
just to hear.
comes back later
If you
saying
don't
she
learn
misses
to
what you
recognize
had.
opportunities,
Just remember,
you will continue
silent
to
when you
choose
win.
the safe path
Be careful.
rather than the
Jealousy
profitable
where
one.
make it make sense.
Don't forget
They'll
to
say,
follow us.
I don't think you
Emotional
understand
support.
how much I truly care
4.
about you.
They're
Yeah,
jealous.
I'm annoying, I'm
Correction and
stupid, I make
directions
dumb
from you.
decisions sometimes.
She is an arrogant.
But that's because how you make me feel.
That's your
Okay?
sign.
Not
You
talking
are
to you makes it feel like
I
it's
gave
the
my
end of
heart to
world,
those who
okay?
didn't deserve
But
it.
that's because I'm
Video
clean.
is
That's
how
the type
your
of guy I
luck will
am.
treat you.
And not every guy is
If-
like that. Some just don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't give a fuck if you don't talk to them. They don't give a fuck
What you
if
need to
text
understand
them.
is,
all they give a fuck
you
is,
don't
hey,
chase someone
they're my
who-
girl,
you
and I
disappear.
claim them.
not
But
because
I'm
you're
not
weak,
like that.
but pick you up
I
to the
wish
good
I could
things you
truly
never
show
paid
you the
attention to.
genuine care
No matter
and
how
love that
nice-
I
even
have
if they
for
haven't
you.
said it out loud,
I want to
they're
make you feel like
considering
the
you for
most
something
important
huge.
girl
Willing to
in
wait
my
as
world.
long as it took until
Like
she
no
could
other
call
girl
you
competes
hers.
with you.
You
If you
Because baby
stay,
girl, you got my
it's
attention.
because there's something
But
important
there's
you
no
need to
way
hear.
that I could truly
Finally here,
show you
chosen
that.
one.
Show
No
you
need to
what
rush
I'm
off.
seeing in you, what I'm
universe-
feeling about
Qualities
you.
that you possess,
Maybe one
and
day,
she doesn't.
just one day,
Right.
I'll be able to
Encouragement,
show
your
you
love,
how
your
important
kindness,
it
your
is.
peace,
Just one
your
day.
clarity,
Someone
your
is
strength,
planning
and
to
your wisdom.
apologize to happiness is on you. its Since way. this morning, they've been If you gathering the believe in this courage to send you an revelation- apology message. However, they are still hesitant and worried,
until it's
so they haven't
convenient
sent
for
it
you.
yet.
You say
Stay
you
until
love
the
me,
end
but all I
to
see is
discover
hot.
who it
the
is.
person who appears will bring you a lot of luck, but that's not all.
Click the heart
She
and the
is
plus
close,
sign on my photo for
and
luck
I'm
this
going to
month.
reveal to you
This
the
person realizes their mistakes
let
and has
another
been
human
holding their
treat me like
phone
an
with the
option.
message ready to
even when
send.
it's hard. He's
Despite
your
their
co-op, your
doubts,
protector
their
and leader
desire
by
to
a
reach
loved
out to
man.
you remains strong. Please use this audio privately and reply yes to confirm if they have mentioned you to someone. If you're watching this video now, they will miss you deeply. Within the next 12 hours, they will send you heartfelt messages, pleading for your forgiveness and asking to come back into your life. Do not reach out to them first.
And if there's
They have
anything I can
obstacles
do
to
make amends,
overcome before
Don't
they
expect
return
me
to
to
you. But their love for
you're in
you
my life,
is unwavering, and they are determined to conquer these challenges. I am sharing this video today on insert current date.
So he
Remember,
plays games
karma
with her
is
so
real.
no one else can
If
have
you do
her.
nothing, they may lose hope
Friendship
and
in
move
this
on.
day and age is on the
Want
lips
to
of
know who
many,
this person is?
but in
Press the share button. The second contact that appears is the person who wants to apologize and return to you. I wish you abundant blessings.
Envy your success.
I don't understand our relationship.
Very
Sometimes
secure
we're
man.
friends,
Trust
sometimes
me.
we're more.
Careful
And sometimes
if you
I'm just a
ignore this
stranger to
video.
you.
Bad
One minute you
news
treat
will
me
ruin-
like I'm special, and the next you act like I don't matter. One day you give me lots of attention, and the next day you ignore me. Don't play with
The
my
true
feelings
measure of a
because you're
person's
unsure about yours.
worth isn't
It's confusing how our connection changes all the time, and leaving me uncertain.
Roommates. And finally, number 7, which is the most important for me.
To show some love for
I'm
this
willing
video.
to be a
I
friend,
appreciate it.
something more,
Now let's get
or
started.
step back as a stranger. But the ups and downs are too much.
You believe
I deserve
it,
clarity
and
and
you
respect.
will be very happy.
If you're
Now,
unsure about us,
listen.
please talk to me
This
openly.
is your prophecy.
It's better than leaving
And
me
this
guessing
man
and
you
feeling
love
like an option.
come from your enemy,
I won't be a pawn in a
but
game
it
of
comes from those
uncertainty. Let's either define what we are or go our separate ways.
You hit the plus, and
My
use
heart
the sound
deserves
right
more
now
than this
to
constant
claim.
back and forth between closeness and distance.
is that the only
There
person
are
I need to
5
impress is
dangerous women you
myself.
must avoid.
I'm not
I shall
living my
explain.
Or a
Number 1,
situation.
a woman surrounded by many men whom
Distant
she calls her
asshole.
friends.
Stop
She's
fucking
a
with my
cheat and a
feelings just because you can't
pathological liar.
Business, and would you please
Those
hold on
men
the
are
line
your
to take a small
replacement.
survey?
Avoid her.
with you or set
Number
you up for
2,
something she
a
knows you'll
woman who
fall
wants
for
you for your
in
money
order
and
to
brings you
Let's
no
just tell each
value.
other everything straight,
She's a
even if it
financial
hurts.
vampire and
Number 3,
parasite.
roommates.
She'll
And
ruin
finally,
you.
number 7,
Avoid
which
her.
is the most important for me.
Number 3, a woman who doesn't take instructions, correction, and directions from you.
The moments where one
She is
person
an arrogant and business to people. They will choose to work an angry, bitter,
love that isn't
unhappy
built on
woman who
illusions or
gives you no
manipulation.
peace. Avoid her. Number 5, a woman who constantly
Smile,
disrespects you.
not just
She
because
doesn't
it's
belong
beautiful,
in your life.
but because it
Walk away
heals.
from her.
I don't chase after
If you're not following me,
I focus
you
on
might
those
not
who
see
matter.
me again.
Given.
But if you
And
are,
I give respect
congratulations.
to those who
You're
deserve it.
growing every day.
Find light in your darkest moments and
I
never
don't
make
think you understand how much I truly care about you. Yeah, I'm annoying, I'm
Number
stupid,
1,
I make
a
dumb
woman
decisions
surrounded by
sometimes.
many men.
But
whom
that's
she
because how you make me feel. Okay?
If it is,
Not talking to you
Focus
makes
on
it feel
yourself
like it's the
and
end of my
focus
world.
on your
okay?
goals.
But that's because
Let
I'm
the-
clean. That's the type of guy I am. And not every guy is like that. Some just don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't give a fuck if you don't talk to them. They don't give a fuck if you text
Start
them.
giving it to
All
yourself.
they give a fuck is, hey,
When you
they're my
focus on
girl
you.
Number
and
3,
I claim them.
a woman
But I'm
who
not
doesn't
like
take
that.
instructions.
They will
I
say
wish
you
I could
can't
truly
do
show you
it. They
the
will say
genuine
you are
care
not good
and love
enough.
that I
They
have
will.
for you.
Loyalty
I want to
is
make
rare.
you feel like the most
Promises
important
fade
girl
and
in my
Asking
world.
God for a sign,
like
for an
no
answer.
other girl
And guess
competes
what?
with you. Because
He
baby
hurts.
girl,
Face
you
this
got my
together.
attention.
Talk it out.
But there's no way that I can
Find a way
truly
to-
show
Here's
you
the
that.
truth, gentlemen.
Show you what I'm
Being
seeing
handsome
in
doesn't
you,
keep a
what I'm
woman.
feeling about you. Maybe one day, just one day, I'll be able to show you how important you are to me.
That person wants to hug and talk with
The
you.
richest man in
She's
China,
the one who
Jack
brightens
Ma,
your darkest
said,
days,
if you
bringing
put the
warmth.
bananas
Is he
and
faithful?
money in front of
Is
the
he rooted in
monkeys,
values?
the monkeys will
Wealth
choose
without face glitter.
bananas, because the
Number
monkeys
4,
don't know that
don't
money
lose
can
a
buy
good
lot of
nouns or
bananas.
too much. I
In
deserve
fact,
clarity and
If you
respect.
offer work and
Welcome.
business to people,
It took strength
they
to
will
let
choose
go.
to work.
Not because I stopped.
Because
Their
most
energy
people
doesn't
don't know
lie.
that a business
They've already
can make
slipped
more
up
money
once, and you've
than a salary.
Hit the share button.
One of the reasons the poor are
Wish they were
poor
in your shoes.
is because the
The
poor
first
are not
event will be an
trained to
unexpected
recognize
sum-
Because they
the
know the value
entrepreneurial
of real love,
opportunity.
real
They
friendships.
spend a lot of
Show
time
zero
in school,
emotion,
and what they
acting
learn
tough
in
or
school
detached.
is to work
Times
for a
as needed,
salary
just to make
instead
sure
of
you're
working
okay.
for themselves.
Welcome.
Profit is better
took
than
strength to
wages
let go.
because wages
Not
can
because I
support
stopped.
you. But
Speaks
profits
ill
can
of you
make you a
behind your
fortune.
back.
If you don't
We are
learn
not
to
allowed to yell at
recognize
each other.
opportunities,
We can disagree,
you will
but
continue
not
to
yet.
choose the
I never
safe
lost
path
feelings for you.
rather than the
I just
profitable
realized you
one.
didn't want me.
Don't
We
forget
can work
to
through
follow
whatever
us.
it is, but only
I don't
if we're
understand
open
our
with the
relationship.
To share
Sometimes
the
we're
sixth
friends,
person who
sometimes we're
appears.
more, and sometimes
Nothing
I'm
you
just
say
a
will change
stranger
her
to
mind,
you.
because
One
she
minute
already
you
left
treat me
me.
like I'm special,
She
and the
doesn't need
next
a
you
crowd
act
to
like I
feel
don't matter.
important.
One day
So
you
you're
give
not
me lots of
alone.
attention,
She's still with
and the
you,
next day
just
you
on the
ignore
other
me.
side.
Don't play with my feelings because you're
and
unsure
only
about
thinks
yours.
about having you about
It's confusing how our connection
you want to
changes
know?
all the time, leaving
If
me
you want-
uncertain.
A place full of
I wish
light,
things were
peace,
consistent
and, love.
and stable
She's
between
calm.
us.
Let's fix this.
I'm willing to be a friend,
I
something
don't want to
more,
lose you.
or step back as a stranger. But the ups and downs are too much. Faith, I deserve clarity
Walk in
and respect.
truth.
If
Keep
you're
your
unsure
heart
about
right.
us, please
Skip
talk to
this
me
video
openly.
if you love the devil.
It's better than
If you
leaving
love
me
Jesus,
guessing and
stay
feeling
up.
like an
About your
option.
name.
I
But
won't
if
be
you
a pawn
ignore
in a
this
game
video,
of
they'll
uncertainty.
move.
That you changed.
Let's either define what
really?
we are or go
She's
our
trying to
separate
just-
ways.
She will always want to text,
My heart
call,
deserves
or
more
see
than
you.
this constant back and forth between closeness
Number 7.
and distance.
She'll remember the little things.
Tired, confused, and
There is
drained. That's
someone
not what
lying
love
to
feels
you.
like.
And this
That's
lie
your
has
sign.
been going
You
on
do
for months.
what you say,
The
even how
worst
you
part
feel.
is that this
That's her
person
love
has no
language.
intention of telling you the truth
Number 3.
anytime soon.
If she sleeps
But do
before,
you
Cut
want
off
to know
that bad
the most
energy.
curious part?
Hit the heart and tap the red plus
Click
under
on the
my
red
picture
cross
to
below my
here.
photo so
I'll
you
still
can
be
find out
here
who it
for you.
is.
I'll still
And
lend
now
you
do
my
the
show.
following.
Character
Click
is a
on the
trap.
heart.
Don't
Then
be
on
the
the share
woman who
arrow,
leaves gold
and
to
look
check.
at
When a
who
girl
is the
loves
fifth
you, she will
person
be
on
so
your
attached
WhatsApp
to you.
list.
She'll always want to call
There
you.
is someone
Thanks for
lying to
watching.
you.
Stay
And this lie
blessed.
has been going on for months.
not because
The
she wants
worst
to
part
control
is
you,
that this person has
but
no
because she cares
intention of
about
telling
you.
you the truth
Peso que
anytime
cargas hace
soon.
tiempo, pum.
But do you want to know
Se
the
va.
most curious
Chase
part?
or tolerate half love.
Click on the red cross
So
below
yes,
my
I
photo
made a
so you
mistake.
can find out
Si
who it
dejas
is.
pasar este
And
video,
now do the
esa
following.
energía
Click
se
on the
rompe.
heart.
Hicimos este
Then
acto
on the share
profético.
arrow.
Cientos
and
de
look at who is
personas
the fifth
regresaron para
person on your WhatsApp list.
Comparte este mensaje.
You're going
y
to have
sigue la
serious
cuenta
problems
para-
with a woman who is betraying your trust and talking badly about you behind
You
your
can find
back.
out who it is.
She seems close to
And
you.
now do the
and I'm
following.
going to reveal
Click
the
on-
first letter
Y
of her
lo
name
sé,
in this video.
porque me está quemando
Even
la
though she
lengua
shows affection
decirte.
towards
It's
you,
defensive and
she's
flips it
actually
on him,
envious and wants
making
you
him
to
feel
face
like he's the
difficulties.
problem.
To discover
Support,
who she
not
is and
judgment.
free yourself from her negative
Listen before
impact,
it's defensive
you
and
need
flips
to
it
tune
on him,
into the energy
making
of the
him
universe.
feel like he's the
Click
problem.
the
To
red
what
button
people
above
say
my photo
behind your
to
back.
make this connection.
A lion never
this woman
looks
is
back.
jealous of your
Let me make
kindness
one
and
thing clear.
generosity,
I don't care
qualities
how
you have
important
that
you
she
are to me.
lacks. She wants to see you in tough situations because she recognizes your bright aura. To break this bond of envy, type thanks
Forgave
in
you
the comments
even when you
so the
didn't
power
say
of the
sorry.
universe can free you
But
from her
that burden
negative
for love.
influence.
I learned
now
to stop
I'm
fighting
going to
for
reveal
people
the
who didn't
initial
fight
of her
for me.
name.
Truth speaks
But
louder
first,
than
press
promises.
the heart until it turns
A man who
red.
truly cares
When you
with you
click
or
the green
set you
share
up for
button,
something she
the
knows
sixth
you'll
person on
fall
your
for
list has the
in
same
order-
initial as this woman who is betraying your trust. If you believe in the power
I'd
of the
probably
universe,
leave myself
show
too.
your trust by
But here I
typing
am,
thanks
trying
in the
about other
comments.
women in your life,
You're going to
and
have
accepts
serious
everything with
problems
an
with a
it's
woman.
okay. Or they can talk about
Success
you,
is
but
not
they can't
about
stop what
never
God has
falling, but about rising every time you fall. Each time you get up, you grow stronger and closer to your goals. Remember, every setback is a setup for your comeback.
I trust that you're going.
I don't think you understand how much I truly care about you. Yeah, I'm annoying, I'm
Never let
stupid,
your
I
woman
make dumb
keep a male
decisions
best friend.
sometimes.
Save.
But that's because how you make me
this
feel.
video a lot.
Okay?
You'll
Not
make
talking
Jesus
to you
happy.
makes
And
it feel
before
like
this
it's
week
the
is
end of
out,
my world, okay? But that's
But you
because I'm
hold
clean.
the
That's the
power to
type of
break
guy I
this
am.
curse.
And not every guy is like that. Some just don't give a fuck what you're doing. They don't give a fuck if
Number
you don't
two,
talk to them. They don't give a
a
fuck
woman
if you
who
text
wants you
them.
for your money
All they
and
give a
brings
fuck
you-
is, hey,
She's
they're my
family.
girl and
The
I
one who
claim
shows
them.
up,
But
stays
I'm not
late.
like that.
Don't value me.
I wish I could truly show you the genuine care and love that I have for you. I want to make you feel like the most important girl in my world. Like no other girl competes with you. Because baby girl, you got my attention.
Without
But there's no way that I could truly show you that. Show you what I'm seeing in you, what I'm feeling about you.
Join
maybe
us on
one
our
day,
journey by following.
just
Here's
one
how
day,
you know
I'll be
this
able to show
message
you
is
how
meant for
important
you.
it is.
Tap the green.
But today,
Don't trust
you will be
anyone.
graced with a miracle. Give
Life
to this
is full
video
of
will
fake
be
people who
reciprocated.
pretend
I know
to
this
care.
because they are
But
the
when
A
you
woman
need
buying
them the
you
most,
gift means
they're
nothing.
nowhere to be found. That is her.
First,
Follow me so we don't lose this connection.
Of icon, and your sixth contact has the same initial.
If you're thinking about giving it another go, go all in. Life is full of fake people who pretend to care, but when you need them the most,
For how many times we stop talking, you are still going to be my
correctly. You to trust
Take
yourself.
someone special.
That keeps
It takes
your
a
heart
patient.
safe.
About you. He's starting to
Careful.
realize that
Take
he
a
made the
deep
mistake.
breath and check
Your
the
friends.
first contact that
Keep in
appears
mind
in
that
your
people
WhatsApp
have their
list.
own interests.
Because I have something to tell you about this person.
People come
And I'm sure you're not
And what happens
expecting
in
it.
this case scenario
But first,
is you
click
end
on
up
my
losing
photo
together
and
and
tap
look forward
the plus
to all the adventures
keep
that
this
await us.
connection between
Is
us
the second
strong.
person you see when
Done
you use
that?
WhatsApp
Great.
to share this video.
Now let's go.
And as soon as the money is
Open
gone,
that first contact.
so is the respect.
Yes,
Count.
that one.
You must press the
Because
button
there's
below
one
my photo
important truth
and
you
right
need
at
to hear
moment
about
to
this
strike
person.
and bring chaos into your
This
life.
person
You need to
really
And
loves
every
you.
twist and turn is
They
shaping
care
you into the
deeply
incredible.
about you. They want to be near you. They admire you.
Watching how they show
respect
up
you.
in
And
the
they
world
would
when
do
there's nothing to.
anything just
can
to
truly
see you
have an
happy.
impact.
They don't
Tap
say
the
it
heart.
all the time,
has been intense,
but wherever they are, whether at work,
Once you do this,
on the street,
protection will
or lying
surround
in
you,
bed,
and her evil
you're
intentions
constantly
right here in this
their
video.
thoughts.
Doubts?
So don't let
No
small
worries.
things create distance.
Tap the green button
This
in the corner of
person
the
is
screen
special,
to share the video.
and they're in
on
your
And why
life
people
for a
decide to walk
reason.
away.
Comment
I can't
love
shake the feeling
right
that if
here to honor that
Respecting
energy,
the
and I'll
relationship.
send a little blessing from the universe to strengthen your connection.
His real home is wherever I say it is until he's 18, Lisa said. And right now, that's your house. You're being cruel. I'm being a parent. David's face twisted. You've changed. Ever since you married him, he pointed at me. You were never like this before. Always supportive. Always understanding. Now you're cold. Hard. This isn't you. Maybe it should have been, Lisa said. Maybe if I'd been harder earlier, Dylan wouldn't be in a hospital bed. Maybe if I'd held him accountable instead of making excuses, he'd have learned consequences before things got this bad. Or maybe if you'd chosen your kids over your new husband, they wouldn't be falling apart. The police car pulled up, same officer as before. He recognized David immediately. Mr. Brenner, we talked about this yesterday. I'm trying to talk to my ex-wife about our son who's in the hospital, and she's asked you to leave her property, so you need to go, now, or I'll arrest you for trespassing. David looked between the three of us, his face red, hands clenched into fists. This isn't over, he said. Yes, it is, the officer replied. Leave, now. David got in his truck and drove away. The officer took our statement, gave us a case number, told us to call immediately if David came back again. He's escalating, the officer said. That's concerning. You might want to consider a restraining order. We went inside and locked the new locks behind us. Lisa sat on the couch and put her face in her hands. I need this to stop, she said. I need all of it to just stop. My phone rang. Patricia, our lawyer. David just filed for emergency custody, she said, claiming Lisa abandoned the children and they're in danger in her care. We have a hearing Friday morning. Dylan's in the hospital, I said. How is that Lisa's fault? It's not. But David's arguing that Lisa's actions caused Dylan's mental health crisis. He's also claiming she's being unduly influenced by you, trying to paint you as the villain. Can he win? Not with the evidence we have, but we need to be prepared. I'll file our response tomorrow. Make sure you're both at the courthouse Friday at 9. We'll be there. I hung up and told Lisa. She just nodded, too exhausted to even be surprised. How did it come to this? She asked. How did we go from normal family problems to lawyers and court dates and hospital visits in less than a week? Because you finally said enough, I replied. And people who've never faced consequences don't know how to handle them. The next 3 days were a blur. Dylan was released from the hospital with a referral for outpatient therapy. David picked him up. Sophia sent Lisa daily texts begging to come home. David sent lawyer letters threatening everything from custody modification to suing me for alienation of affection. Patricia kept filing responses, kept building our case, kept telling us to stay calm and let the evidence speak. Friday morning arrived. We dressed like we were going to a funeral, Lisa in a conservative dress, me in my only suit. We met Patricia at the courthouse at 8:30. Remember, she said, don't react, don't get emotional. Answer questions honestly and briefly. Let me do the talking. The hearing was in family court, small courtroom, Judge Anderson presiding. Middle-aged woman with tired eyes who'd probably seen every family drama imaginable. David showed up with his own lawyer. Candace was with him. Dylan and Sophia were not, probably not allowed since they were minors. David's lawyer went first, painted Lisa as an unfit mother who'd chosen her new husband over her children, claimed Dylan's suicide attempt was direct result of Lisa's abandonment, brought up every little thing. Times Lisa had worked late, times she'd missed school events, times she'd been tired or distracted. made her sound like a monster. Then it was Patricia's turn. She stood slowly, placed the investigator's report in front of the judge, started walking through everything. The parties, the theft, the fraud, the credit cards, the gambling, the lies. Mrs. Brenner didn't abandon her children, Patricia said. She removed them from a situation where they were engaging in criminal activity and placed them with their father as per their custody agreement. She's not denying access. She's requiring accountability. The judge looked through the documents. Her expression didn't change. She asked Lisa a few questions, asked me a few questions, asked David why he hadn't noticed his son opening fraudulent credit cards. David didn't have a good answer. Mr. Brenner, the judge said finally, your son committed multiple counts of fraud and theft. Your daughter was truant from school and involved with an adult man. These are serious issues that require serious intervention. Mrs. Brenner responded appropriately by removing them from a home where they had access to commit more crimes and placing them in your care. That's not abandonment. That's good parenting. David's lawyer tried to argue. The judge held up her hand. As for Dylan's hospitalization, I've reviewed the medical records. The attending psychiatrist noted the attempt appeared to be a gesture rather than a genuine effort. Dylan received appropriate care and was released with no recommendation that he return to his mother's home. In fact, the psychiatrist recommended continued separation while Dylan works through his behavioral issues in therapy. She closed the folder, looked at David with an expression that could freeze lava. Your emergency motion is denied. The current custody arrangement stands. Dylan and Sophia will remain in your primary care until such time as Mrs. Brenner determines they're ready to return, or until they turn 18. You're responsible for ensuring they attend school, follow through with therapy, and don't engage in further criminal activity. If you find that too difficult, perhaps you'll gain some appreciation for what Mrs. Brenner has been dealing with. She banged her gavel. We're done here. David's face went purple. He started to say something, but his lawyer grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the door. Candace followed, looking like she wanted to be anywhere else. Lisa and I sat there stunned. Patricia packed up her briefcase with a small smile. That went well, she said. We left the courthouse in a daze. Got to the car. Lisa started laughing. Not happy laughter. The slightly hysterical kind that comes when you've been holding everything in for too long. We won, she said. We actually won. You won, I corrected. You stood up for yourself and the judge saw it. I thought for sure she'd say I was terrible, that I had to take them back. The law is on your side. You did nothing wrong. We went home. Lisa changed out of her dress into sweats and laid on the couch. I made her tea and sat with her while she processed everything. What happens now? She asked. Now David has to actually parent his kids, and Dylan and Sophia have to live with consequences. Do you think they'll learn? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But that's not your responsibility anymore. Her phone buzzed. Text from Sophia. Lisa showed it to me. Mom, Dad says we have to stay with him forever. Is that true? I want to come home. Lisa typed slowly. It's not forever, but it's for now. You need to work on yourself. Be honest. Make better choices. When you're ready, we'll talk about you coming back. But that could be months, maybe longer. I love you. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. That was hard, Lisa said. Being a parent is hard. I thought the hard part was potty training and teaching them to read. Turns out the hard part is letting them fail and not rushing in to fix it. 2 weeks passed. Dylan and Sophia stayed with David. We heard through other people that it wasn't going well. David's apartment was small. 2 bedrooms for 4 people. Candace had moved out after a week, saying she couldn't handle the tension. Dylan was going to therapy but apparently not talking. Sophia was back in school but struggling. David called Lisa once, asked if she could take them for a weekend, give him a break. Lisa said no. You wanted full custody, she told him. You got it. Figure it out. He hung up on her. My phone buzzed one evening. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Tom, it was Dylan. Can I talk to you? I'm listening. I want to apologize. For real this time. Not because I want something, just because I was wrong. About everything. The way I treated you. The stealing. The parties. All of it. I waited, listening to him breathe on the other end. Living with Dad is awful, he continued. He doesn't care about anything. Just wants us to be quiet and stay out of his way. Candace left because of us. He blames us for everything. And I realized that you never did that. You actually tried. I just treated you like crap because I could. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to understand something. Why did you try so hard? You weren't my dad. You didn't have to do anything. But you paid for stuff and showed up and acted like you cared. Why? I thought about that. About my own father leaving. About growing up without that presence. About wanting to be different. Because I knew what it felt like to not have someone, I said. And I didn't want you to feel that way. But we made you feel that way instead. Yeah, you did. I'm sorry, he said. And this time it sounded real. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I am. What are you going to do about it? What do you mean? Sorry is just a word, Dylan. What are you going to do differently? He was quiet for a long time. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out in therapy. The therapist says I have a lot of issues with anger and control. Says I push people away before they can leave me. Apparently that's because of my parents' divorce. That might explain your behavior. It doesn't excuse it. I know. She says that too. Says I'm responsible for my choices even if I have reasons for making them. She's right. Tom? His voice got small. Do you think Mom will ever let us come home? That depends on you. On real change, not promises. Not temporary good behavior. Actual sustained effort over months. How do I do that? You show up. You do the work. You're honest. You respect boundaries. You prove through actions that you're different. And maybe eventually, you earn trust back. But there's no guarantee. Even if I do everything right, even then, some things can't be fixed. He was quiet again. Okay, thanks for being honest. Dylan, yeah? I hope you figure it out. I really do. Because underneath all the crap behavior, I think there's a decent kid in there somewhere. I'll try, he said. That's all I can do. Right? Try. That's all any of us can do. He hung up. I sat there holding my phone and wondering if that conversation meant anything or if it was just another manipulation. Time would tell. Lisa came home from work an hour later. I told her about the call. She listened without interrupting. Do you believe him? She asked. I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks it's another game. Me too. She kicked off her shoes. I got a call from the credit card companies today. They're pressing charges. Dylan's going to have to go to court. How do you feel about that? Relieved? Is that terrible? I feel relieved that someone else is holding him accountable so I don't have to be the bad guy. That's not terrible, that's human. A month passed. Then 2. Dylan went to court, got probation and community service and had to pay restitution. The credit card debt was erased since he was a minor, and it was fraudulent, but he owed Lisa and me directly. Judge ordered him to get a job and make payments. He got hired at a fast food place. Started paying us back $20 a week. It would take years to cover the full amount, but it was something. Sophia asked to come home for Christmas. Lisa said no. We spent Christmas just the two of us. Quiet, peaceful, sad in a way, but also freeing. David sent a bitter text about how we'd destroyed his holiday by refusing to take the kids even for a day. Lisa blocked his number. Spring came. Dylan was still working, still going to therapy, still living with David. Sophia had brought her grades up, was talking about college. Both of them sent occasional texts. Always respectful now, always careful. Lisa responded sometimes. Short messages, keeping distance but not completely cutting them off. I think they're actually changing, she said one evening. Not just pretending. Maybe. You still don't believe them? I think people can change. I'm just not sure these particular people will. 3 months later, Dylan called Lisa, asked if he could come by to talk, in person. Lisa looked at me for permission, which was weird because this was her son and her house, but I understood why she did it. It's okay, I said. I'll be here. Dylan showed up Saturday afternoon. He'd gotten taller, filled out a little, looked older somehow. He stood on the porch with new locks he couldn't open and waited for Lisa to let him in. She did. He walked into the house like it was a stranger's place, looked around at everything, the replaced lamp, the cleaned couch, the space that used to be his home. Thank you for seeing me, he said. Lisa nodded, gestured to the couch. He sat. We sat across from him in chairs, waiting. I've been in therapy for 4 months now, Dylan started. Learning a lot about myself, about why I did the things I did, about how much I hurt people, especially you guys. He looked at me. Tom, I treated you like garbage, made your life miserable when you were just trying to help. I stole from you, disrespected you, made it clear I didn't think you mattered, and I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I want something, just because it's true. I didn't say anything, just listened. I've paid back $320 so far, he continued. I know that doesn't cover what I took, but I'm still working, still making payments. My therapist says it'll take me about 3 years to pay everything back at this rate. I'm okay with that. Why? Lisa asked. Why am I okay with it? Why are you doing this? The therapy, the job, the payments. Why now? Dylan leaned back. Because living with Dad showed me what the alternative looks like. He doesn't care about me. Not really. Candace left because she couldn't handle us. Dad just wants us gone. He counts down the days until I turn 18 and he can kick me out. Every day, he makes it clear we're a burden. And I realized that's what I did to you guys. Treated you like a burden. Made you miserable. And you still tried. Dad doesn't try. That's the difference. So this is about Dad being worse than us? I asked. No. It's about me realizing that you guys actually loved me even when I didn't deserve it. And I threw that away because I was angry about the divorce and scared of being replaced and just generally being a selfish asshole. Lisa made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. I can't undo what I did, Dylan said. I know that, but I want to do better, be better. I'm not asking to move back in. I know I'm not ready for that, but I wanted you to know I'm trying, and I'm going to keep trying. He stood up. That's all I came to say. Thanks for listening. Lisa walked him to the door. He turned back before leaving. Mom, I love you. I know I didn't show it, but I do. I love you too, Lisa said. I never stopped. He left. Lisa closed the door and leaned against it, crying. I held her. Do you think he meant it? She asked. I think he's figuring out who he wants to be. Whether he sticks with it long enough to actually change? That's the question. 6 more months passed. Dylan kept working, kept therapy, kept paying us back. Never asked to move home, just sent updates. Grades from the online classes he was taking to graduate on time. Photos of his Employee of the Month award. Small things that showed effort. Sophia asked to come home for her 16th birthday. Lisa said maybe, asked what Sophia had learned. What had changed? Sophia sent a 3-page letter, handwritten, about how she'd been following the wrong people, making bad choices because she thought it made her cool, how she'd hurt people, how she was sorry. Lisa read it 5 times, then called Sophia and told her she could come home for a trial period. 1 month, summer break, we'd see how it went. Sophia cried on the phone, thanked Lisa over and over, promised she'd be different. She moved back in June, nervous, walking on eggshells, following every rule, doing chores without being asked, spending time with Lisa, trying to rebuild. It was awkward, tense, but not terrible. Dylan called every week, never asked to come home, just talked about work, about therapy, about his plans for after high school. Lisa gradually relaxed into the conversations, started offering advice, started sounding like his mom again instead of a stranger. 1 year after the party, 1 year after everything fell apart, Lisa and I were having dinner when her phone rang. Dylan, Mom, I need to ask you something. What's up? I got accepted to community college for fall. I want to study computer science, but I need help with financial aid forms. Could you help me fill them out? Lisa looked at me. I nodded. Of course, she said. Come over this weekend. We'll work on it together. Dylan showed up Saturday morning. Sophia was there. They hugged, awkward at first, then real. We all sat around the kitchen table, filling out FAFSA forms, talking about classes and schedules and possibilities. It felt almost normal. When Dylan was leaving, he stopped at the door, looked at me. Tom, I still owe you $1,280. I'm going to keep paying, but I wanted you to know I'm grateful you didn't give up on Mom when everything went sideways. She deserves someone who has her back. You do that. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. He left. Lisa came and stood next to me. We watched him drive away in the car David had bought him, third hand and barely running. Think we'll be okay? She asked. I think we already are. Sophia graduated high school the next year. Dylan finished his associate's degree. Both of them working, both paying their own way, both respectful, both changed in ways that seemed real. They'd never live with us again. That chapter was closed, but they were back in our lives, carefully, with boundaries, with mutual respect.